everyone, and welcome to Branch's 18th annual Black Tie and Blue Jeans virtual gala and online auction. I'm Rob McGill, and I have the honor and pleasure of serving as tonight's MC. Thank you so much for joining us tonight to celebrate all of you, as well as the children, youth, and the families that Branches serves every day. Tonight's theme is Reimagine, because as you can tell, this is not exactly the normal type of gala event that we're used to. And in the past year, we've certainly had to reimagine so much of our daily lives. Everything from how we work, from how kids attend school, to simply just going out anywhere. And most importantly, Branches was able to very quickly reimagine how they served and consequently never stopped serving their children and families during these challenging times. I'd like to share with you a story of a remarkable single mom and her two extraordinary daughters that I was privileged to meet through Branches. Having to flee from an abusive husband, this mother and her daughters came to Branches and received the help they needed to help make it on their own. Today, the girls are exemplary students, and their mother is gainfully employed, looking at a future that is much brighter than their past. So now, to kick off this evening's celebration, I'm excited to welcome our fantastic gala chairs, Victoria and Jason Randolph.
Good evening and welcome everyone to Branch's first ever virtual gala.
It's a privilege to serve again this year as the Gala Chairs. Although this year's event is much different than those in the past, we are happy to be here and thrilled that you're here to support Branches in this special way.
Black Tie and Blue Jeans, as you know, is Branch's largest fundraiser of the year, bringing together hundreds of donors, funders, volunteers, and friends to celebrate all that Branches has accomplished in this year and the years past.
Last March, when COVID-19 hit the Miami community, Branches pivoted quickly and continued to serve their constituency without interruption. They went above and beyond to serve the children and the families, and we are so impressed and thankful that they were able to pull this off.
That's right, 2020 was a really tough year, and this year will continue to be hard for Branches as they help our students catch up and our families to recover. COVID has tested us all, but we are strong, we're Branches strong, and we never quit serving.
So from our family to you and your family, thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for all your support, and have a great time tonight.
Have fun!
Thank you so much, Victoria and Jason. Next, I'd like to thank our incredible philanthropic chairs, Trish and Dan Bell, who are also providing a dollar-for-dollar match for all sponsorships and donations towards this evening's gala. I've had the privilege of knowing Dan and Trish for a long time, and they are true philanthropic icons that have done so much to benefit our community. So without further ado, please help me welcome the lovely Trish Bell.
Good evening, everyone. Dan and I are delighted to join you from our home this evening as together we celebrate Branches. We've joined together virtually this evening from many different locations, but with the same purpose at heart, and that is to celebrate an organization that has continued to provide a wide variety of highly essential services to an enormous number of people during this year-long COVID-19 crisis. We've experienced tremendous challenges this past year, but we are immensely proud of Branches and how it has successfully adapted to unique ways of continuing to operate under extreme circumstances. The organization has not skipped a beat. It has continued to serve as an important safety net for some of the most vulnerable in our community. Branches has continued to deliver school supplies, has mentored and supported children and families, has distributed nearly 2,000 meals every week and delivered some of them to homes when needed, and it's done so much more. No one was turned away. Every one of the children and families who was enrolled in the Branches program has been well provided for, regardless of the tremendous challenges. Dan and I firmly believe that there are so many bright and talented children throughout our community who have enormous potential, but who might lack the kind of motivation, support, and guidance that was probably available to most of us. Branches helps young people and their families of all ages and all cultures by first establishing goals and then motivating, guiding, and enabling them to reach those goals. And most important, love and compassion is at the heart of everything Branches does. Thank all of you for continuing support, an organization that so successfully helps an enormous number of people try to reach their true God-given potential. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce Bishop Kenneth Carter of the Florida Conference of the United Methodist Church. Bishop Carter will be sharing this evening's invocation, so please join me in welcoming him. Thank you.
Let us pray. O God, you are the hope of all who seek you and the help of all who find you. We give you thanks, O God, for your presence with us, and especially through the ministry of Branches. Jesus taught us that he was the vine and we are the branches, and we draw our life and strength from him. We thank you for those whom we serve in this ministry, for those who lead and guide, and for those who undergird this ministry with prayers and with their gifts. Bless this gala and those who have organized it. We know that the presence of your Holy Spirit is with us, and we ask for your abundant blessings. In the name of Jesus Christ. He is the vine. We are the branches. Amen.
Thank you so much, Bishop Carter. So now I have the privilege of thanking all of the amazing and generous sponsors of tonight's virtual gala. It's because of you, Branches is able to provide tutoring, mentoring, grab-and-go meals, financial coaching, tax prep, and so much more that a family needs to be successful. You can also check out all the sponsors in tonight's digital program book as well. So here we go. Cheers to you. A toast to our great sponsors.
First, I'd like to thank our philanthropic chairs and matching grant sponsors, Trish and Dan Bell. Thank you so much for your incredibly generous matching grant this evening. We'd also like to thank our Shining Star sponsor, the Hyman Brown Charitable Trust. In addition, we have our Platinum sponsor, Truist. Also, our Gold sponsors, Rodney H. Bell, Kathy and Scott Howard, Missy and Jim Morgan, Victoria and Jason Randolph, the Huizinga Family Foundation, and the Tonkinson Foundation. We also have our Bronze sponsors, Tommy and Jack Edwards, Kathy and Bob Kowalski, Ray Rosario Jr. and Rodney Little Jr., Daryl Windle and Dave Somber, Aetna, Bills and Sunberg, Florida Power and Light, City National Bank, Publix, Crow LLP, JP Morgan Chase, and Iberia Bank First Horizon. And of course, thank you to all of our patron sponsors. We sincerely appreciate all of your support.
And now I would like to introduce to all of you Branches Executive Director, Brent McLaughlin.
We are thrilled you've joined us this evening in support of Branches' mission and the children, youth, families, small businesses, and the whole community that we serve together. I thank you. This past year has been a struggle for all of us, but especially for some of our neighbors who we're serving day in and day out throughout the year. Our purpose as an organization came through more than ever during this past year because our team knows that we've been called to serve no matter what the circumstances. Here's just a few ways that we fulfilled our mission and made an impact. The first is we took immediate action. Back in March of 2020, we didn't wait to see what was going to happen, but in fact, in advance of the schools closing, we were already planning our next steps. And so right after the schools closed, we were connecting with students virtually. We were providing drive-through meals for families so that they could feed their families as they lost jobs. And so here's a brief video highlighting those efforts. At Branches, we've been called to serve, and when COVID-19 crisis hit our community, we immediately adapted and transformed our services so that we could do them in a safe, effective manner. From grab-and-go meals to virtual coaching, virtual tutoring, and connecting with our families, Branches is on the front lines making a difference throughout our community. Next, we've maintained a high-touch engagement. We've always focused on long-term relationships with those we serve, and as a result, it's guided our response during this very difficult year. For example, when a family would have to quarantine due to exposure to COVID, we'd take hot meals to their home. Or when high school seniors did not get to experience a normal graduation celebration, we created drive-by graduations in their front yards and followed that with virtual celebrations, so that each senior got to celebrate that big milestone. Next, we have been creative and trailblazing. In our financial wellness work, one area of leadership has been leading the VITA Coalition in South Florida for free income tax prep for all those who need it. Every VITA site here and across the state closed in mid-March, but shortly thereafter we reopened with a walk-up model that was safe for everyone, but continued to provide access to this critical service. Our reopening of VITA was the first in the state, and consequently, we've trained others on how to start VITA safe and keep it safe and secure. As we look ahead, we are going to continue to reimagine the future with those we serve. Together, we will make their tomorrow full of opportunity. Helping us to do this evening, we are so grateful that Trish and Dan Bell have provided an incredible matching grant of $150,000 for Black Tie Blue Jeans Reimagined. I hope you will consider supporting us through a gift and help us draw down this match opportunity. You can donate at our website, branchesfl.org, and click the Donate Now button. I thank you for not giving up on the families, the children, the small businesses, all those that we serve, and continuing to support Branch's mission. Now I would like to introduce to you Alex Fletcher. She's our program manager in Florida City and also our children's choir director. Tonight, she and 3 of her amazing students are going to provide a wonderful performance that they've been planning for a long time. So unfortunately, due to COVID, we couldn't have the whole children's choir, but we have 3 sisters who were thrilled to do this performance for you when we asked them. So tonight, Alex, girls, take it away.
I can only imagine what it would be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Right to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine what my eyes will see. I can only imagine when all I will do is forever, forever worship you. Ooh, I can only imagine.
Good evening. My name is Kim Torres, and I'm the Director of Student Services, and I've been with Branches for over 28 years. It is my pleasure to be with you tonight as we celebrate all the incredible work that Branches has done. Because you know, it's been a really hard year. It's been a hard year for you and for me and for all the families we serve. You know, virtual school is very stressful. It's hard because so many of our families don't have all the technology that they need to thrive and do the very best. It's also difficult because homework is hard. You remember what it was like for you? It's hard for them. And not everything is in the language that our parents know to really for them to be able to help their students. But you know, we have been right beside our kids and our families this whole time. We've been able to provide support for homework, for online learning. We've been able to walk alongside our families to do free tax preparation, to do financial coaching, to provide food from bulk groceries to hot meals. Over and over again, we've been able to support our families during this difficult time. And it's all because of you. And so we are looking forward to what happens next. You know, it's been fantastic to have our kids back on campus since August. You know, kids have been here for online school, for all of our after-school programming. You know, we've been helping them with their homework and succeed, and also just being with them to provide joy and fun and hope. And we will continue to be with our students and our families during this next season. We will help them regain the loss they've had in learning. We'll help them make decisions for the future, and we will just be right alongside them. And now, here's a look at life at Branches today. And you know, it is a great night. You've heard our girls sing, and now you have the opportunity to hear from one of our college scholars. Samantha Romaine is in her second year at FAMU in Tallahassee, and she's going to be with us tonight to share her story. So listen with me and let's celebrate all that she has accomplished.
Greetings and humble salutations. I am Samantha Romaine, a sophomore here at the illustrious Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, home of the Rattlers, here in Tallahassee. And I am super excited to share my story with you all today. I remember in my sophomore year of high school, I needed a place to volunteer, and so a friend of mine recommended Branches to me. Now, I had never heard of Branches before, so I didn't know what it was, and I called Miss Kim, and she told me that all the volunteer positions had been filled. Now, any normal person would hear that and move on. But what did I do? I waited a few weeks and then called again, got the same response. and proceeded to call until finally Miss Kim had a position open for me. My persistence got my foot in the door, and since then, Branches has really changed my life. I believe that God brought me to Branches because the way that my steps have been ordered and the things He's made possible for me is truly unbelievable. My senior year of high school was the best and worst year for me. I felt so much pressure to be great as a first-generation college student and the oldest of 5. I felt like there was no room for failure. I had plans to go to Florida State University through the CARE program, but that was not the path that God had set out for me. That's the crazy thing about trying to plan your life out for yourself. God is always there to place you where you need to be and not where you think you want to be. I remember working hard on my application for FSU, but I had terrible testing anxiety and struggled to get the scores that I needed despite studying for the test. But I still remained hopeful. I received my first rejection letter from Florida State, and this dissolved any self-esteem that I had left in regard to my education. I felt like a total failure. I felt like I let my family down. And when I told Miss Kim about it, she was not fazed by it. She told me to try to appeal my application. And when she told me that, in my mind, I thought that she was a little crazy for having so much hope. She believed in me and helped me every step of the way. Unfortunately, the appeal got denied. Next, I received a rejection letter from FAMU, and this time, I really thought that my life was over. As dramatic as it sounds, that's really how I felt because as the oldest in my family, I have 4 younger siblings looking up to me. So the pressure was such a heavy burden to carry. I kept thinking, why am I so stupid? Why can't I get accepted anywhere while my friends were getting acceptances from all the colleges that they had applied to? Now, the series of events that followed after receiving my acceptance letters are actually unbelievable. Miss Kim and I met this man named David Lawrence that was on the board of FAMU at this fundraiser event that Trish and Dan Bell hosted in their home. We reached out to him to help with my application. I had Miss Kim help me with my essays. Stephanie Benoit, who is a FAMU alumnus, went to the admissions office to root for me as a student. And this made me feel more at ease because I had people supporting me. A couple of months go by, and as I was volunteering at Branches, I received my acceptance email from FAMU. I could not hold in my tears of joy as I relayed the information to Miss Kim. My very first semester at FAMU, I had to prove that I was ready for a college education despite my low SAT and ACT scores. I remember the first summer I spent at FAMU was one of the best educational experiences I have ever had. I ended that semester with a 4.0. I attended a predominantly white high school and often stood out because I was the only Black person in many of my classes. But at FAMU, there are all types of people that look like me and related to me. FAMU felt more like home. It's my place of comfort. I know now that this is where I am supposed to be all along. I had to fight for my place at FAMU because I knew that's where I truly wanted to be. I love my HBCU and am proud that I get to learn and be empowered by people that look like me. There is truly nothing like the HBCU experience, and I thank God so much for FAMU. I spoke at a Black Tie Blue Jean event a few years ago and discussed my future aspirations as a defense attorney. With that, I got connected with some amazing people and was able to work at the Leon County Public Defender's Office as an investigative intern my freshman year of college. I didn't have a car then, so I relied heavily on Ubers and Lyfts to take me to and from the office and often to the class and then back to the office again. I am now in the process of applying for different study abroad programs to study in France and to take some law courses out there and meet people that are passionate about social justice issues just as I am. The Branches Scholarship really helped me through that time because I take a total of 3 Ubers a day for 3 days out of the week. And without the scholarship, I would not have been able to learn so much and meet some of the most amazing people at that internship. At first, I wanted to go into the medical field, but that changed because I was more passionate about creating a system that works for Black and brown people as well as works for white people. I grew up with friends that were raised similar to how I was raised on the same values and the same principles, yet they ended up in prison and I ended up going to college. Why is that? It's not because I'm any better than them or any smarter than them. It's because there are injustices within our criminal justice system that work against Black and brown people in America. I want to help change the overcrowded prisons and incorporate more rehabilitation centers for these people. I want to create more nonprofit organizations similar to Branches to help keep more people of color out of trouble and show them that despite all odds, they can be whatever they want to be in this life. The sky is never the limit for them. Michelle Obama once stated that kids will invest more when they're invested in. And that is what Branches does. They invest in our future. They make sure that we have all the tools that we need to succeed. And this is why Branches is important. I thank you all for investing in me so that I can give back to make our society a better place for everyone. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Samantha. Your story is very inspirational, and we deeply appreciate you sharing it with all of us. Next, I'm thrilled to introduce Chef Nicole Patel, owner of Delicia Chocolatier. Celebrating 12 years in business, Nicole was named 2020's best chocolatier in the Americas. Wow! So, now it's time to grab your chocolates and enjoy.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm Nicole Patel, the owner and chocolatier of Delicia Chocolatier, and it is my pleasure to be your host for our Art of Tasting portion of this evening's programming. Now, this programming is typically about an hour in length, but for respect for this evening's event, we have reduced that down to about 15 minutes. So I will talk to you about all of the 4 flavors in your chocolate box, but we will only be tasting 2 together as a group. Feel free to enjoy the remaining flavors throughout the rest of tonight's programming or save them for later to enjoy at your leisure. Now, you should have your box of chocolates. Go ahead and remove that beautiful bow from the outside of the box. We're not quite ready to eat yet. I do want to talk to you about the proper way to taste chocolate. So go ahead and take a peek at these beautiful truffles. Now, I have personally handcrafted all of the flavors that you will be enjoying in this evening's tasting. We only use one piece of equipment, and that is a melter to give us a constant supply of melted chocolate and allows us to bring all those sugar molecules together to give you that nice shine and snap to the outsides of the chocolates. Now, we launched Delicia Chocolatier in 2008, but I made my first batch of truffles a few years before that when I was pregnant with my oldest. My husband came home from work and asked for help finding holiday gifts. Not feeling like going shopping, I decided to make some handmade chocolates that I had seen on the TV. Everyone was making those homemade gifts, and I thought, well, those seem easy enough. But none of the recipes worked, and being an actual engineer by trade, I decided to start tinkering and playing with the different ratios of ingredients and came up with a version that I preferred. Making the first batch of chocolate truffles, very ugly hand-rolled truffles, sending them into the office. Our son was born a few days later. And here we are. We decided in 2008, after the request of family and friends, to actually launch our own business, thinking that we do wedding favors and party favors. I very quickly learned that we're not going to stay small for long. It is our pleasure to share with you our creations. And we have selected flavors this evening just meant to portray different styles of chocolate and different ingredients infused into the center of each of these chocolate truffles. A quick tour of the flavors in your box before we talk about the proper way to taste. We are going to start with this top left corner truffle that is our herbed lemonade with the yellow designs on the top. This is rosemary, thyme, and mint infused into white chocolate with lemon peel and lemon zest, with a thin dark chocolate shell on the outside. The next flavor will be a orange rose blossom truffle. Roses and orange blossoms infused not only into the milk chocolate, but also into the caramel that we've blended with this 34% milk chocolate. Starting the second row, left truffle will be our rose petal raspberry truffle with a piece of a hibiscus in the center, aromatics of hints of floral as well as raspberry puree. And then we will finish this evening's box with our brisket caramel truffle. No actual meat in this truffle, but inspired by the crust on the outside of a really good brisket. Smells like the charcoal bits in the bottom of your barbecue pit. Fused salts that we've smoked in the barbecue into caramel and blended into a 64% bittersweet chocolate. Again, we will taste a few of the flavors together as a group, and the rest feel free to enjoy at your leisure. So let's talk about the proper way to taste chocolates. We've been doing these tastings in person since 2014, and they were a little bit more casual, a little bit more happy hour style. People would come in and sit down and relax with friends and enjoy chocolates on our set menu. And we noticed one thing consistently, and that was that everybody rushed through tasting their chocolates. They would put the entire truffle in their mouth. They would eat it very, very quickly, but they'd miss out on the nuances and complexity of flavors. And so about 2 years ago, we developed our art of tasting process built around forcing you to slow down, involving all of your senses in the tasting and giving you 4 easy steps to follow. Smell, listen, feel, and savor. Step 1, smell, is all about preparing your taste buds for what you're getting ready to experience. Your sense of smell and sense of taste are really closely tied together. That's why when you have a cold and you have allergies, you can't actually taste anything. It's because you can't smell anything. And a really good way to demonstrate this is when you have food in your mouth and you plug your nose, you'll notice that the taste completely disappears. And as soon as you let go of your nose, the taste returns. Now, for me personally, that's the most important step because I can't actually eat chocolate. It gives me migraines. And so I do all of our recipe development simply by smelling the ingredients, infusing it into the chocolate, taking a little spoonful of the ganache center of the truffles, and seeing if the aromatics are behaving the way I want the flavors to when you actually taste the chocolates. Now, step 2, listen, is all about understanding the quality of your chocolate, as well as how dark your chocolate is. We have commercial mass-produced chocolate and artisanal chocolate. Very easy test to tell the difference. Take a chocolate bar and just break it. If it's really malleable, if it bends a lot, if it is kind of crumbly when it does break, and it makes absolute, that's going to be commercial mass-produced chocolate. The reason for that, the primary ingredient is fillers and wax and additives, and just a little hint of actual cacao. Now in artisanal chocolates, which are primarily made with the cacao bean, you can use this listen step to understand how dark your chocolate is or the cacao percentage. Milk chocolate's going to be soft and creamy, not a lot of resistance. And as the cacao increases, your chocolate is going to be louder and louder as you bite into it. You're going to get a much sound from your darker and bittersweet chocolates. Now, step 3, feel, and step 4, savor, is all about the tasting. We take that tasting step and we break it into 2. With that first bite, we want you to pay attention to the initial flavors that are hitting your palate. What ingredients are unfolding? What do you immediately recognize? And step 4, savor, is all about the finish. What flavors linger, what new flavors appear or reappear, and does it remind you of anything? Our perception of flavors are actually tied to memories, and those memories and our preferences for flavors are usually set at the age of 2.5 or 3. It's why when we talk about chocolate and sweets, nostalgia and comfort food is so strong. It's because it takes us back to a time period in our childhood. Now with that, let's enjoy our chocolates. Again, we are going to start with the top left corner truffle with the yellow designs on the top. This is our herbed lemonade truffle. Now, to go through our 4 steps, take the truffle out of the box and actually smell the bottom of the truffle, kind of placing it directly under your nose and kind of cupping your hands around, taking a deep breath in. You should get hints of bittersweet chocolate from that outer shell. But through that, you should also smell some of the herbs, rosemary, a little bit of thyme and mint, and then kind of some of that freshness, that citrus, that lemon. Taking a bite into the truffle, nice loud snap sounds from that dark chocolate shell, followed by creaminess and silkiness from the white chocolate inside. Now, white chocolate doesn't actually contain, it's made from cocoa butter that's pressed from the beans. So it comes from the same plant, but because of it doesn't have the cacao bean in it itself, its melting point is going to be much, much lower. It is going to dissolve very, very quickly on your tongue, requiring another bite of the chocolate. Now, taking that additional bite, just letting the chocolate sit on your tongue and melt away, that's the best way to taste chocolates. You really want a chocolate truffle of this size to be about 3 to 4 bites to slow yourself down and go through all of the tasting steps. Immediately, you should be tasting these herbs, very strong right up front, rosemary being the strongest and most pronounced, followed by mint and then thyme. The lemon peel and lemon puree will be tartness throughout that kind of mutes the sweetness of the white chocolate. So this isn't a terribly sweet chocolate, isn't terribly tart chocolate, a nice balance. And then that final bite, the herbs will return, but this time a little bit more muted. They're there, just kind of an underlying tone of earthiness, followed by a little tartness, just a little bits of lemon peel. Once all the chocolate melts away, will be left remaining on your tongue, giving just a little heightened citrus flavor. Now, in between tasting each of your flavors, we really recommend cleansing the palate. And the best way to do that is by taking sips of room temperature water, just to not alter the temperature of the inside of your mouth, or sparkling water is actually the best. The carbonation in the sparkling water just dries out your taste buds and resets everything, allowing your palate to kind of read and be able to taste new flavors. So now transitioning to the top right corner chocolate with the floral design on the top. This is our rose orange blossom truffle. So this is one of my favorites in the entire box. It's inspired by our travels to Europe. Very first time I ever visited Sevilla, Spain. It was springtime, the breeze in the air, and the sweetness of the orange blossom trees. If I could have bottled that scent or brought home a tree with me, I would have, and I fell in love immediately with orange blossoms. On our trips through England, most notably in London, we noticed that the English love to infuse florals into their baked goods and pastries. Violets are very popular, but so are rose hips and rose petals. So it's the fusion of those two flavors that we really portray in this rose orange blossom truffle. Holding this to your nose, taking a deep breath in, this is the flavor that you start to taste before you take that first bite. The florals are very, very strong, again, showing that link between our sense of smell and sense of taste. Taking a bite, nice creaminess, most notably from the caramel that's been infused in the center of this milk chocolate. You will taste one of the florals first, and then you'll taste sweetness, and then the second floral will appear. Now, depending on which floral you get first will depend upon what you're most familiar with. If you grow lots of roses, or if you cook a lot with rose water or rose petals, you're probably going to recognize that flavor first. If you eat a lot of Middle Eastern foods, you might recognize the orange blossom immediately. But one thing we notice the most is that you will taste one floral, then the caramel and the sweetness will appear, and then your palate will switch and you will taste the remaining floral flavor. Nice delicate flavor. If you are struggling to experience the floral in this particular truffle, just kind of pucker your lips a little bit, open up and breathe in, and breathe in some air. That helps with recognizing some more of the delicate flavors in chocolate. Now, it's been my pleasure to share our chocolates with you. Again, the remaining two flavors that you have in your box are your raspberry rose petal hibiscus in milk chocolate and then your brisket caramel infused with the seasonings and marinade in a really good Texas brisket. Enjoy these throughout the rest of the programming. Remembering one thing, just resist that urge to chew. Take a bite of the chocolate, let it sit on your tongue, and just let it melt away. That's going to give you that best layering and experience of tasting your chocolates, taking you through your 4 steps: smell, listen, feel, and savor. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to spend some time with you this evening and for sharing our handcrafted chocolate truffles with you. It was my pleasure to join you and enjoy the rest of this evening's event.
Oh, that was delicious. Well, now it's time to kick off Branch's online auction. It's now live and ready to take your bid. So log on to the auction right here. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's up there. Well, I don't know where it is. This is live. There are so many fun items to bid on, from purses and jewelry to restaurants, trips, and a whole lot more, like this cool watch. And just get on bid. It's going to be fantastic. We're all listed in tonight's digital program board. So start your bidding whenever you're ready. The online auction will be open for the next 2 weeks, and it will be closing on Friday, May 14th at 8 p.m. And last but not least, on to our live raffle. Based on your sponsorship level, you received a certain number of tickets for tonight's drawing for this beautiful brand new iPad Pro 12.9 inch. So I've got a draw now. In this magical bag are the tickets. And the winner is Missy and Jim Morgan! Come on down! Are you sure? Oh, I just found out from Isabel Pike, one of the goddesses of Branches. She just told me that they want to donate the pad back to Branches for one of their students. This is just so overwhelming for me. This is such a beautiful moment. This is what Branches is all about. Missy and Jim Morgan, you're my new heroes. Love you. iPad's going to go help us do. This is fantastic. Give me champagne. This is great. And now, as our program nears its end, God, where did the time go? I want to once again thank all of you for joining us tonight. To close out this evening, I'd like to welcome back Anislet, Aramis, and Jessica to sing one last song for us, Count on Me. Again, thanks to all of you for your faithful and dedicated support of Branches. We are so grateful that we can count on you.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. We find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, and I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. If you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. We find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, and I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.